Those plant centipedes will always shoot 2 meteors at a time. You seriously magic pixeled me after I plunge attacked you. Now we gotta kill everyone all over again. That douchebag with the cannonball. Build maidens always drop bullets. See if I can generate some blood bugs with these guys. Now remember what direction that guy was facing, because usually when blood bugs are spawned, they will be facing the opposite direction of the enemy you visceral attacked. You prick, I didn't make a sound. Yeah. You don't get to aim these, so they're pretty much useless. Once you're beside these guys and they can't hit you with the majority of their attacks, you're pretty much good to go. Unless they've got a buddy who's standing right next to them, also shooting meteors at you, in which case they can be a colossal pain in the ass. Yeah, you get way more arcane haze from the haze extractor. Oh, look what I missed. This time I'm not going to give a shit about that wandering nightmare. I'm going to make sure I deal with this fucker properly. There. Much better. Was that the last one? I go deal with that wandering snatcher. Eh, fuck it. I don't need to sneak up on you, you bitch. Oh! Look what you've got! Thanks for keeping him warm for me. No pansy left behind. Now, when I say that blood bugs face the opposite direction of the enemy you kill, that's usually. Because there have been instances where they have been facing the same direction that the enemy was facing when I killed them. I'm not sure if it's dependent on being a backstab visceral or a gunshot visceral, but usually they're facing the opposite direction. This is a pilgrim. It is the friendliest motherfucker you're ever going to see down here, aside from the messenger bath. They are virtually harmless. Now, I take one shot at this guy, he's almost certainly going to die. But the thing is, he will not attack you no matter what. If he's wandering around in a patrol route and some, like, piece of furniture gets in his way, he will use his one and only attack, which is a very small area of effect blast that just surrounds him. It's his only attack. If your weapons are weak enough that you can hit these guys without killing them, they will kind of aggro on you. They will perform that attack once, and then they will de-aggro. They will go back to their little patrol route, wherever it takes them. He's going to go pray to the wall. And they are completely harmless otherwise. They will not attack you unless you attack them first, and even then they will only cast that spell once, and then if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. Now, short little foggy hallways like this are usually mean there's treasure at the end, but more often than not, it's going to be guarded by something, either regular enemies or maybe even a guardian enemy. Yeah, there's nothing in this room, at least not enemy-wise. Now, in these particular rooms, with the trees and the drapes and the walls full of skulls and the big bulge in the middle of the floor, you want to keep an eye on the center of these rooms lengthwise, because occasionally there will be cracks in the floor or weak spots, and if you walk on them, you'll fall through to the floor below. And depending on whether or not you've been in that particular area and cleared out all the enemies or not, that can leave you seriously fucked. Particularly with the fall damage you take dropping from one floor to the next. Was that switch even remotely visible? No. Once again, it's completely hidden from view. But it's there. There is a floor panel there. I've seen plenty of other ones where the floor panel is perfectly visible. I'm not seeing my blood bug over there. Don't think he spawned. And there's that little asshole way over there. He throws Molotovs down on you if you're in the right position for him to hit you. Usually what I find is that they put a Bell Maiden up here on the 3rd floor of these rooms who summon spiders who then drop through the cracks in the banister and sneak up on you from behind. Major pain in the ass. Get fucked, you little turd. Pretty sure that's the only thing of importance here on the 3rd floor. And also in the corners up on the 3rd floor of these rooms, you can sometimes, although I don't find them very often in the root dungeons, have elevators that will take you from the between the 3rd and 1st floor of these rooms. Oh no, it was on the other side of the other room. Now this particular room, the chandelier room, which is usually much more well lit and more ornate looking, is always 2 floors high. The bridge can be in different positions, either in the middle, on either side, or opposite sides. These windows you see on either sides can sometimes be fake walls, so it's good to check them if you have a bridge that goes right past them, because otherwise you're not going to be able to get to them anyway. And sometimes it's worth checking these, because these can be fake. And even ones in the bottom too. Where the hell am I going? Right, down. And you won't always have a ladder connecting the top and bottom of this room, and there won't always be bridges connecting either side of the top floor either. Let's see if I can be sneaky enough to sneak up on this guy. Nope. That perceptual range, holy shit. Yeah, that lingering hitbox also comes with a lingering parry window. As he holds that thing out in front of his face, and it can still hit you. Now, sometimes breaking these things isn't always the best choice. Sometimes you can use them to generate friendly fire. You know, if I'd been able to sneak up on this guy, I could have used it to attack Fatty there, but that wouldn't have killed him, and it would have been better for me to get a backstab on him anyway. Now, sometimes boxes like this will be stacked up to completely obscure these corners. Basically hide whatever's in here, and usually that means there's a wandering nightmare. And you want to get in there and kill the little bugger before he disappears on you. And also in rooms like this, you also want to be careful in the center. Sometimes this will be a weak spot. It's usually pretty obvious. You can tell the difference, and you can see like the square has clipping in it. You can kind of tell the surface isn't complete. You can see through the seams and such. Yeah, and even though these guys are perfectly harmless and there's really no reason to battle-wise, they drop a shit ton of items. Usually either 12 Quicksilver bullets or 10 blood vials. So it's worth killing them just to get that shit. Now, in order for blood bugs to spawn, I find you usually have to move 3 rooms away if they're going to spawn at all. It's not always a guarantee that they will, just because you visceral attack a bunch of enemies. So that should be plenty far away enough. I'll go back to Fatty and see if he spawned anyone for me. Yeah, I don't think that guy spawned anyone. Usually it's 3 rooms away. There have been times where I've gone into the next room, turn around, and boom, there he was. Nope. Oh, yes. Normally, I prefer to take these guys on with my Burial Blade, because that R2 hits like a fucking freight train and knocks them flat on their ass. But this is depth 1, I'm pretty sure I can handle this. Oh my god. What a sad piece of shit. Warm Blood Gemstone 2. Whether or not they spawn, I think is dependent on the enemy you visceral attack, and just random chance. Some enemies are set up specifically to spawn blood bugs in certain situations. Like you'll see enemies that are using pickaxes on the walls facing away from you that are such easy targets for a backstab. And then you kill them with a visceral attack, and then you come back later, and now you've got a blood bug facing away from the wall that's a lot harder to sneak up on. They like to pull tricks like that. Now this right here is the only bonus area in this fixed depth 1 dungeon. And it's going to give us our first Sarcophagus treasure. And Sarcophagus treasures are basically the reason why you want to go to Root and Sinister dungeons, because those have all the best treasures in the game. Uncanny weapons, lost weapons, Carol runes. And when you get down to depth 5, they even have a few other surprises for you as well, including blood rocks. Hey, turn around, dipshit. No, too soon. Didn't like that one. I prefer to shoot your fist anyway. You want to be careful trying to hit these windows because you can clip through these corners. Well, you used to be able to. I had a major problem with those before. Let's check the other side. Maybe they finally fixed it. Okay. Looks like that problem doesn't exist anymore. Hooray. Now, in hallways like this, especially the longer ones, you want to keep an eye on the sides because sometimes they'll have little cubby holes that you'll miss if you're just dashing through them, where enemies, items, and traps can be hidden. Like, you'll be running along and you won't even notice that you'll trigger a panel on the floor, and then one of those dart-shooting statues will hit you from the side and just fuck up your day. And for some reason, in this Chalice dungeon, in this one particular room, that guy on the far end seems to be having some goddamn pathing issues standing in one spot. But as soon as he aggroes on me, he'll start behaving normally. I know for a fact there's no cracks in the floor for me to worry about. Oh my god, you both missed, are you kidding? Now, listening for audio cues is really important in Chalice dungeons, because sometimes, if they're not clipping through the door, you'll be able to hear monsters on the other side, in which case it's a good idea to basically door fight your way into killing them before you even open the door, because you could have an entire fucking army just waiting to bust through and kick your ass. If there's red spiders, you'll almost certainly see their legs clipping through the floor as they try to attack you. Big werewolves, same thing. But just keep your ears open and listen for signs of danger at all times. Always play with your headphones on. Yeah, even though this incense is supposed to mask the presence of enemies, you can still lock onto them if they're there. And here we are, we got these two guys waiting to ambush me when I come down below, but guess what? Bye-bye. It's always a good idea to, if you come from the top first, it's a good idea to look around, check those lower corners for any enemies that might cause you problems later. And if you've got enough consumable items like Molotovs, knives, poison knives, you might want to take them out from a distance with your height advantage rather than actually facing them up close, depending on what they are. A little slow on the trigger. Not that it matters. Now, only root dungeons and sinister dungeons will have uncanny weapons, lost weapons, and carol runes for you. These fixed dungeons won't have anything like that in their sarcophagus treasures. but they will have other things like certain chalices or special materials or some fairly good blood gems. Oh, okay. Where's the goddamn button? Nope, you missed! You're worthless! You had one job. Normally, if there's a treasure in this room, it'll be down here, and you'll have a guardian enemy right smack in the middle for you to smack. Okay, now it's time for the final boss of this 3-layer dungeon, and your second pain in the ass. And this is actually a pretty good weapon for this guy. Oh, yeah, I forgot. We have a friend. Let's go give him his FaceTime with the camera. Never underestimate the value of a good distraction. Tomb Prospector Oleg. He's got the Kirk hammer, and we'll see what gun he's got when he gets pissed off. Yeah, don't get too far separated from these guys, otherwise they will just leave. Now the Watchdog of the Old Lords, run the fuck over here so he doesn't charge the door. That can fucking kill you. Once you break one of his limbs, it has reduced defense. So your best move is to try and focus on one limb as much as possible. Fuck. Good thing I'm over level for this. Jesus! That's how you fight him when you're fighting him solo. ow, ow. And he's dead. Just back away from that shit. Oh, perfect. He's gonna puke. Don't get back right in his face too soon, otherwise it'll trigger a second follow-up attack. And there goes his fucking face. Yes, a long-reaching vertical swing weapon is definitely helpful when fighting this guy. So, 2 bloodstone shards, a fireblood gemstone, tier 3, and the central Pthumeru Chalice, which is the next fixed Chalice dungeon I'll be going to, which I'm probably at the right level for already. After I level up. Yeah, 45, I'm pretty sure I can take on that dungeon right away. Where's the damn... that way. So yeah, if there were a 4th layer to this dungeon, it would be right here behind this lantern. But there's only one fixed dungeon that has 4 layers, and that's Lower Pthumeru. All the other fixed dungeons are 3. With root dungeons, it's random. So yeah, that was the fixed Pthumeru dungeon, Depth 1. Yeah, so I can't remember how many Blood Echoes I started with, but even with the first Moon Rune, I managed to get less than 20,000 from doing that whole thing. Well, maybe the fact that I died bumped it up a little.
Welcome, what? Very well then.
Okay, what's next? I think I want to... How many do I have? 1. Okay. Oh my god, less than 1,000 to my next level. Okay.
Farewell, good mate.
Now, if you're going to be doing lots of Chalice dungeons over and over again, you want to remember to repair your weapons, if you can't upgrade them, after completing a dungeon. Last thing you need is to be in the middle of a goddamn boss fight and have that shit starting to break on you and then do reduced damage and then get your ass kicked or have to duck out because your weapon isn't pumping out as much damage as it needs to be. Yeah, the short ritual root chalice, it costs 10 insight from here, but you will find it as a treasure in the Chalice dungeons eventually anyway, so if you're going to be doing that many Chalice dungeons, there's no point paying for it. I still don't have enough for all of... I don't even have enough for 2 of that. Shit. Well, it's not that good anyway. Oh yeah, we're done with that one. Next time, I'll be going into Central Pthumeru. So until then, goodbye!